On that note, to keep it simple, we're going to ask probably the question, everyone's already anticipating. Question number one is, which period is best suited for alternate history? We'll let the guest choose first.
Oh boy. Okay. So, uh, like you said before we started recording, we're all just gonna say World War II. Yeah. No. I like World War II. I think it's very influential. I
Okay.
think the funnest for me at least to do alternate history about is like medieval to like Renaissance time
Hmm.
periods. And it's mostly just because it's before the modern period, and
Okay.
it's when nation states were really forming. And that's kind of why I like imagining have a certain battle or a certain aristocrat had lost, then a certain state wouldn't have formed in the way that it did. As
Hmm.
an example,
You might
just
want
kind
to
of the
keep all
form.
this fuel for the debate.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Don't
oh,
give
oh,
away
oh,
everything.
Don't waste your shots.
oh
You
yeah, I
may
won't.
use
Okay,
them. You may need them.
I'll keep my I'll just say German unification. Anyway, that's it. That's my.
So what your choice as an era? Ancient, medieval, modern. Well, what are you going with?
I would say. I would say probably like Renaissance. Honestly,
Renaissance.
I
Okay,
would say Renaissance era. Yeah,
correct.
Age of Exploration.
Oh, I'm gonna wait for you to say Gorky, and I'm just gonna try and think how you're gonna make this be about the Mongols.
Well, you're just talking like a Mongoloid.
I don't give a fuck. I am a Mongoloid. In my heart, I'm a Mongoloid. That is what I am. We are Horde. That is what we are. Yes, we are that. We are 100% that.
That's not something to be proud of.
It is something to be proud of.
I I don't know if you see this in the description, but this is a random draw question. So
I
I'm
know.
gonna go ancient, and
Ooh,
I'm guessing you're gonna go modern. But then the dice will decide who gets what on the final end.
I'm gonna snub the audience, and I'm gonna say World War One.
One.
Yeah, instead of two.
plot twist. That is a plot twist.
Okay. Okay.
So you said it's a random draw. So
Yes.
okay, we're shifting to the left. I get okay. Well, for my left, I actually don't know what your cameras are like for you guys. I'll get the ancient. Gorgi gets Renaissance, and Cody gets World War
Okay.
One.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay,
I think
all
we can
right.
expand on this. I think Cody can get all of moderns, everything modern. You can
Oh, yeah,
get
sure.
everything medieval, and I get everything ancient. Or which one was it?
I get
That works.
ancient. You get. I guess you're calling it medieval, Renaissance.
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah, medieval. Perfect. That's my jam.
Okay, sure. So,
All right.
do you want to go first, Gorgi, or me?
Sure, sure. Medieval.
It's your backyard, so there you go.
Hmm. The medieval period is the absolute best period to do ancient history in, because the ancient period is too far away, and it's completely fiction when you start talking about if Caesar died early or if Alexander lived longer. It's much more complicated to go further to a point when we can relate more to, and it's just completely science fiction. The modern era, on the other hand, yeah, you have a lot of details and sources there, but unfortunately, it's just like, I feel like that alternative history should be a bit more of an escape. And the perfect balance between the two is the medieval period, where all these nation states are becoming their own. You're getting a really good idea of how culture interacts with geography, interacts with governments, and you get such a good balance between sources and people, and you have a little bit of everything. There's just so much color in the medieval period that's just lacking from the ancient and the modern period. And then I'm talking color in every aspect you can think of, from how people waged war to what moral and value systems they had. And there's just so much discovery in that period. So when you're talking about an alternative history scenario, you want to go into a direction that will end up with a completely different outcome, and for that direction to be conceivable and realistic. The only time when you get this is in the medieval period, where the other two are either too fictional or too
Done.
similar.
All right. And as you can see, Cody, I do the silly thing with my hands, and it honestly really
Yeah.
helps.
It's good to see that in practice, huh? Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so ancient, taking me out of my element.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's a no-brainer. Mine changes the most out of the three of us. Your states maybe don't exist, or they're unbelievable Goliaths. Like, I don't know, it's Holy Britannia or all of a sudden, because Britain wins the American Revolution or something like that. But like, there's huge events that change everything. What if Athenian democracy never comes about? What if Alexander the Great doesn't spend all of his time crying in tents?
Clyde spoke true. I am become a tyrant.
And really does a better job of, maintaining less alcohol consumption and not dying? Then maybe there's more Hellenism going around the world. What if Julius Caesar actually formed the empire he wanted with Cleopatra? There's a lot of craziness. You don't even know how far it's going to go in the future. It has this incredible butterfly effect that overwhelms both of yours. And not to mention the amount of characters that have so much significance and influence, because back then, if you're the ruler of, let's say, Macedonia, like Alexander the Great, like, you could really do something. The ancient world is completely different. The world was your oyster. Sure, there was limitations to things, but they could have found the new world earlier, perhaps. Anything could have happened. Whereas, the both of you have some limitations on yours, especially with, modern history. It can only affect so much because it's just about like 100 or so years ago. As for the Middle Ages, it's like you said, the states have already been formed at that point, most of them. So there's not a grand amount that can be changed, unlike ancient history. And I'm out of time.
Nice.
Well, as you see, modern's just the best. And you can see it in the numbers, you can see it in what the scenarios are. World War I, World War II, the Cold War. Yes, the states are already formed, and it's only a span of about 150 years, but a lot happens in that 150 years. We go from people being in horse and buggies to going to the moon. And so there's so much you can play off of in that little span of time. And just in those first like 40 years of the 1940s, modern is the best because we have the clash of ideologies. We have the clash of worlds: communism, fascism, democracy, monarchy, and even the decolonization of former European empires. Yeah, Rome and Britain and stuff are like interesting, and the 7 Years' War, sure. But I'm more interested in what if those empires continued on in the 20th century? What if they didn't collapse in failure? That makes you think. Or even going into further in the 20th century, if the USSR didn't collapse, what if communism had won? That is a thing that the ancient and medieval worlds really don't have. Which monarch wins? That's boring. I want to see ideologies and entire societies change, and that's what the modern world can offer us.
Perfect.
Oh, really good.
All right, Mr. Georgi.
Okay. You know me, guys. I gotta go controversial on this, and I will just say that from all the Paradox games, EU4 is the best because you have so much to play with. This is the best exercise in thinking and hypothesizing about alternative histories, playing as all those states. I have a similar problem with both of your arguments, and that is that the playground is just not fun, not that fun. You may have more pieces on the board, but they're on the same. They're just like two different shades that are vastly different. But with my playground, you have so many different states, so many different ways it can go. There's just so much more interaction, and every piece is connected with each other. With the ancient world, okay, Caesar, Alexander, like, you're talking about these monolith empires that have no real rivals, and they're just sitting there by themselves, and maybe someone else picked them up. With them, with communism versus capitalism, democracy, whatever. Yeah, blue versus red. It's just like, I want more pieces on the board. Yeah, it's not just the monarchs, it's the figures, it's the states, it's the how all of them are connected with each other. More variety.
Got any big figures in the ancient world? What are you talking about? All right, so I guess Alexander didn't have a Darius to face. I mean, the guy screwed up, mind you, but he had a big hand to play. He could have won. The Persians could have reigned supreme for much longer. As for the Middle Ages, Come on. It's like everyone is kind of doing the same thing at that point. I mean, sure, you got like the Mongolians, the horseback archers. Oh, that's really original. All the steppe people are doing that, okay? And you know what? They're lucky the Chinese lost them. The Chinese were too busy fighting themselves. And as for the modern era, it goes without saying, we got enough books at this point on World War II. It's about 50% of them. The other 20% is probably like World War One. Then you get the little sprinkle of, oh, what if JFK was killed? No, come on. You want to hear about like, what if Alexander he had a moment of clarity and he stopped drinking, and then he just ushered in more brutality, more carnage, killed Indians and horrible stuff, and then his empire was, it didn't fragment and cause more wars and more states. Done.
Yay, genocide.
Yay, what if Alexander didn't drink and genocided the Indians? Patient.
And burned more cities down.
I'd watch it. One, that was a low blow bringing EU4, because now I have to bring in Hearts of Iron 4. I just have
Bring
to.
it.
Now, I will admit, Hearts of Iron 4 in the base game is boring. But if there's one thing that it does more than anything, it's the mods, baby. And I have to bring in Kaiserreich. If there's anything that tells you how good modern alternate history can be, it's Kaiserreich. And that isn't even about the entire world. That's just about the United States falling apart. And the beauty of having so many different ideologies and crossroads is you can have Democratic Socialist South, led by Huey Long, fighting against a syndicalist North, and New England just kind of sits it off in the background. You can have MacArthur become a dictator. You can have whatever the Pacific states do. I forgot what they did. But and that's just in one little country. That's the thing. Hearts of Iron 4 mods show the beauty that is modern alternate history, because you can just throw anything at the board and people actually know what it is. And I'm done.
That's a really good ending.
Wow.
People actually know what it is. It's true.
We did a practice debate and you were like, how did you jump?
The
How
guy's
did
a
you go
pool
Super
shark.
Saiyan? What happened? What?
He pool
I had
sharked
to,
us.
that's
Oh my gosh, that was unbelievable right there. I might kill myself if somebody made that on me.
why we have a practice debate.
Yeah.
Oh my
You got me
God. Okay. Wow. No. I want revenge. He crushed us both on this one.
Oh yeah.
Bring on the next one. This is going to be savage.
All right. Well, this